Welcome to the live stream here from McCready and Siskey, powered by Rain Total Body Fuel. I'm Neal. That is Tyler.
What it is, sir?
How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm here to support morally my man Scoops.
I went and got tested today to make sure I didn't have any contagious diseases to pass along to you or to others. I did not go to the Ole Miss media opportunity because I did not want to be accused of spreading the plague to whatever members
You
of
would
the
so get blamed for that.
football program. So they are safe and sound thanks to avoiding me, but turns out that I'm just either run down or I have some other undiagnosed condition.
Big moment in the world before we get started. Let's see how many strikes we can get before we get started today.
We're in good hands.
Everything's good?
We're in good hands. Listen. Earlier this year, the vice president was asked, what would you say to Iran? And she said, and I'll quote, don't. Just don't. End quote. Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Well, we would if this were a couple of years ago, right there on that left screen right there, my brother-in-law would be behind the mic.
Oh, is that right?
That's what he did. That was his gig.
Oh, he's missed. I mean, just don't.
Yeah, it's wild, man. I in case you're under a rock, you can see on the TV behind Neal's head there. Iran has launched missiles into Israel.
Lots of them. At least 500 is the latest
at least
report
500.
that I've seen.
So, yeah. So the next gonna be a interesting day and interesting 24 to 48 hours in the old world coming up. It's as if this next month couldn't get any more crazy. Well, let's add this to it. So
Tariq Skubal just hit in the hand on a line drive back up the middle.
He'd be all right. Just a little 100 miles an hour off the hand. No big deal.
So I got baseball playoffs going on. Got the World War III getting started. Big day. So we'll talk some football here in a moment.
Yeah, we got baseball playoffs, World War III. We got some football. Turn the page Tuesday. What more could you ask for with an afternoon with Scoops and Cisco?
You know, I talked to a buddy of mine earlier today who covers South Carolina, and right before we got started, we were just kind of talking about the world, and it was like, I know people want us to talk about football, so we'll talk about football, but like, holy cow, has it ever mattered less, you know?
Yeah, it's hard to focus on. Hard for me anyway. I know you as well. But I'm a football guy. Like I'm captain football guy. It's hard for me to focus. So here we go. Yeah. Let's do it. Right, this won't come up at all tonight at 7 o'clock ish on your local news station with a debate.
Well, I will be interested to see how this is handled on the debate. I mean, you know, this is. I am hopeful of this. No matter who you're for, whether you're for Harris Walls or whether you're for Trump, Vance, whoever you're for.
Yeah,
I do, and we'll promise we're going to put the page here. Turn the page.
We're going to turn the page.
But I do hope that the conversation is not about, you know, back in 2018, you said that this person was a buffoon. Who cares? No, let's talk about the real world. Yep. Let's talk about the fact that we have a major international incident that requires American leadership, no matter whose leadership you think it requires. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the economy. Let's talk about the situation with the ports, how you're going to get that resolved. And let's not get into all the personal stuff about what you said about somebody 8 years ago, or if you tweeted something when you were 16. I don't care. Let's move on. Let's not talk. I don't want to hear about the burning tires in the windows. I don't. I mean, I think Walls is insane for that, but I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about his wife and the windows and nope. Let's talk about now. Let's have a serious conversation about now. We won't. We'll talk about burning windows and what people tweeted, and that's what we'll do. Yep. Because that's American media.
That's clicks, baby.
Yeah, but that's real. So
it's really surreal to see missiles flying across the sky. That's insane.
Yeah. All right, I'm getting ready to roll.
All right, we're turning the page. Let's go.
Turn the page. Turn the page. Here we go. Welcome into episode 215 of McCready and Siskey, powered by Rain Total Body Fuel. I'm Neal McCready. That is Tyler Siskey here on this Tuesday, October the 1st. Welcome to October, second.
This is
the first full month of fall. It's about 90 degrees outside.
It's not bad today.
Is it not?
No,
I walked out just then. It felt kind of hot.
It's low 80s.
Okay.
But it's cool at nighttime. It's like almost fall. It's not like it's not hot. If you like, it only really gets like this for like 2 or 3 hours, and it's cool in the morning, cool at night. So it's okay. We're getting 22 hours of fall.
Okay. We're brought to you each and every day by Rain Total Body Fuel, 300 milligrams natural caffeine, BCAAs, electrolytes, zero sugar. It's got what you need to push the limits, achieve your goals. Check them out on Instagram at Rain Body Fuel to learn more.
Neal, I'm rocking with the Kiwi blend today. As always, you guys know it's one of my afternoon favorites. Tastes like an apple Jolly Rancher. Probably more to me than a Kiwi blend. Love it. It's a great afternoon Kickstarter there.
Afternoon delight.
Yeah, a little afternoon delight.
Don't think they were referring to rain, but they could have.
they could. No Diddy. They could. All right. I was waiting on that to be Diddy's new hit out of Juarez.
Be careful.
Afternoon delight.
Strike.
Looking for the strike. Hayaga.
Tupelo says, Neal, you feel better. I'm a little doped up. I went and got tested for anything and everything. I don't have anything. But I did not go. I did not go to Ole Miss's media thing today because I did not want to get the players sick and be responsible for any ramifications from that.
That's right. Neal's holding it down.
I'm sure I would not be blamed.
No, you would not. No.
So, no. So no, I did not. But I did not want to go this morning. Chase and I did the show remote because I didn't want to get him sick, and I got tested before you came over so that you wouldn't get sick. I'm usually pretty susceptible to strep throat.
Okay.
And it kind of feels like strep throat, but I was tested for strep throat, and I'm negative.
Let's go. Neal, the Cooper Chevrolet chat is already bumping. Remind everybody that right now, the Chevy Trax is at Cooper Chevrolet. They are starting at under $24,000. The Chevy Trax is a small SUV that's big on value. They have Car and Driver's 10 best trucks and SUVs, and Cars.com named the best car of 2024. You can drive it right now for $249 a month or finance and make no payments until next year. And, hey, you might as well go get it. It may not even matter. Call the guys at Cooper Chevrolet, area code 256-236-4481. That's area code 256-236-4481. We're also brought to you by our good friends, Brandon and all the good folks over at PTG Outdoors. They are a Caymas boat dealer. They have both fresh and saltwater boats. They sell and service Mercury outboards. They do custom marine electronic installations with Garmin, Humminbird, and Lowrance products. You can get all of your fishing needs and custom golf cart retrofits where they replace all of the batteries with a single lithium battery. Have locations in Grenada, Mississippi, and make sure you go to the online store. Doesn't matter if you're on TikTok, Twitter, if you're on YouTube, doesn't matter how you're watching, or you're listening on Spotify, Apple, it doesn't matter. Go to ptgoutdoors.com. Go to their online store. They will send it to you where you're located. And also give them a call at 662-459-9311. Neal, it's one of my favorite, has become one of my favorite, and we need to today. It's become one of my favorite, shows of the week because it's Turn the Page. It is Turn the Page Tuesday. We will not hear that at all tonight, but it's time to turn the page. Turn the Page Tuesday. And I'm looking for a big Turn the Page Tuesday here. Tupelo Reb, I got your super chat. We're gonna cover that game. I'm gonna bring it up here in just a little bit for you, boss. I will not forget your super chat. So we're gonna turn the page. First of all, Neal, we got to start it off with this. My team, the only team that I'm really a fan of, like you guys are a fan of football teams, my Atlanta Braves. That's demonstrated that I think I freaked.
You were pretty happy yesterday.
AJ said I kind of freaked him out. He didn't know what the hell was going on because he couldn't see the TV behind you.
Right. I could, and it still freaked me out a little bit.
Yeah, I get a little into the Braves game. I was pumped up. I couldn't focus. I'd like to apologize to all the Oxford Royals parents and Drew. I basically just sat in the stands and watched the game during practice yesterday. Didn't do really anything. There was not a lot of instruction. It'll be okay. We got our final big tournament this weekend, so
it'll be all right.
We're plus 14,000 on the first game Friday night, so we're ready to go.
Is this like on replay or is this live?
No, some of those are on replay.
Okay, thank God.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, that's
okay.
That's some of it's on replay. But the Braves make it in, and then just I told you when I left here, we finished the show, we watched the last out. And I was like, well, I'm going to go ahead and head to the house. I can get home next 20 minutes before they start the next game. And sometime between the time I left your house, the Braves got kicked in the nuts again. Chris Sale could not pitch game 2 yesterday, but he is not going to pitch the entire Padres series. He's not even on the roster. So that doesn't I've had back spasms. I have them about every 3 to 6 months. They are debilitating. I hate that. So yeah, the Cy Young winner can't, in a 3-game series, the Cy Young winner can't pitch. That's not 18-3. Cy Young winner, not gonna be able to pitch. No bueno. Just hope the Braves find lightning in a bottle like they did when they won the World Series. Because when they won the World Series, nobody expected them because it was very similar to this, right?
I got to tell you, if this team, no offense, wins the World Series, there is just absolute a lot of good fortune for this group.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Now when they won it, like Bryce Elder, who's in the minor leagues, was one of their pitchers. Ian Anderson's not even, he's in the minor leagues. Like all these, they basically threw the ragtag out there. They basically had Max Fried and Charlie Morton. Those were the 2 best pitchers they had.
From now on, when you refer to Max Fried, I would like for you to refer to him
Chicago
as potential
Cub.
future Cub.
He's going to pitch tomorrow. He's not going to go with short rest. He'll be game 2.
We're taking care of him. The Cubs today, in their postseason press conference, said that the key to next season is for some guys to overachieve. I'm glad it's a plan. Yeah, it's a plan.
It's good.
Sure. If everybody who's an average player has a great season, we'll win. True. Kind of felt hopeless.
Yeah.
Listening to that.
But look, it's really, as a Braves fan, you had all this hope, and you just think about the injuries that you can literally go around. Mm-hmm. The only people that, knock on wood, the only really starters that made it through the year was Matt Olson and Arcia. Everybody else has spent major time on the DL or whatever. Murphy was out for most of the year, and he's not even the full-time catcher now. He's come back because, he'll start, but he's, you got him. You had Albies has been on it twice. Riley's out.
It's actually
Acuna's out.
It's a really interesting part of building a baseball team is that
Ozuna, I forgot about him.
Yeah, it's so difficult to build a winner, and then you can't count on the health, and then more and more and more it becomes an even younger man's game. And so sometimes you get a team full of guys in their upper 20s, right around 30, and suddenly they're old,
quick,
and it's a weird thing to watch guys
get old,
kind of fall over the hill.
Yeah. Staying with the base.
And when you lose a guy like Ronald Acuna, you don't replace an impact player like that.
No.
You don't.
He's top 5, 6 in the game.
Yeah, he's just so amazingly good that you just don't replace him.
Did it again.
What'd you do?
Busted my pen.
Oh.
And then staying with the baseball theme here, real sad. I heard your show this morning. I know you're the same thing. You don't have to talk about it again. I do, but I wanted to say something. Pete Rose passed away at 83 yesterday, and Dikembe Mutombo.
Yep.
And both of those guys, Pete Rose was towards the end of his, when I started collecting baseball cards, I was a big baseball card guy. I was all fired up. I had I remember one of my first, again, for whatever reason, I was 8 years old, but I can remember one of my first cool baseball cards when you open the pack, when you actually used to do that stuff. I got a Pete Rose manager player card, 1986 tops.
Oh,
1986 tops.
You were born what year again?
77.
Okay.
So I remember him playing at the end of his career, but nothing like you do.
Yeah.
I was definitely out of his prime, but he was still a polarizing figure, was the manager. I think he may have been the last manager player.
I think that's right.
I think that's
accurate. It was
accurate.
Don Kessinger and then him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so then the whole, gambling scandal took over the late 80s, early 90s, then obviously the ban from baseball. I have a take on this, and I know that I'm definitely, this is one of those things I think you pick one side or the other if you're a baseball fan.
I don't know. I'm one of the really scant minority on this that is like, I think both sides have such a compelling point.
I am definitely on one side of it. I think it's I hope Major League Baseball is proud of themselves that this guy did not go to the Hall of Fame. I think sometimes, and I'm going to throw Major League Baseball in here, I think sometimes I'm going to throw the NCAA in here. I think sometimes these leagues confuse themselves that they are the FBI or the local police or the district attorney. This guy's banned from life from baseball. And if he committed murder at the same time that they banned him from baseball, he'd be out of jail by now. That happens. And I just think it happened when he was a quote unquote manager. It had nothing to do with his playing days, right?
Right.
I'm sure he's not the only one that ever did it. He got caught. He lied about it, which compounded the issues. I heard your point this morning, 100% agree. By lying about it so long, he kind of dug in, and there was two stubborn people, and one was more stubborn than the other.
Yep.
But it's really a travesty, in my opinion. I think it's a travesty that he's not in the Hall of Fame. Him getting 4,286 hits had absolutely nothing to do with gambling on baseball, right?
No,
so I guess that's my point.
Yeah, and I get it.
Is I understand, and I do, and everybody knows the rules, Neal. Everybody knows the rules, but that had nothing to do with him being the all-time hit leader and things like that.
The one that's even more complicated to me is Barry Bonds, who obviously took performance-enhancing drugs. He wasn't the only one.
No.
He obviously benefited from performance-enhancing drugs, but I would argue that it didn't make him a better player. It made him a different player.
Agree. He would have been in the Hall of Fame regardless, I think, if he took him or he didn't.
Yeah. Because
he was so different.
Such an elite hitter. When you listen to Greg Maddux talk about facing Barry Bonds, it's absolutely fascinating. The Rose thing to me, I don't know why. I wasn't a Reds fan. I didn't ever cheer for Pete Rose's teams. But there was something about that yesterday. I for those that don't listen to our morning show, which is a pretty substantial group given our numbers, I was outside. I was grilling. I'd agreed to do a podcast at 7:00, and I was watching the end of the Braves-Mets second game, and it was over. The Braves had won.
Was that?
Yeah, Eduardo Perez. The Braves had won, and they had already gone to like SportsCenter, and they were coming back to that portion of SportsCenter. They were showing the highlights from the first game and the highlights from the second game, and they were talking to Eduardo Perez, and he said, "Hey, Jay," whoever the anchor was, and he was like, "Hey, I want you to know, I want to break this here." He talked to Pete Rose Jr., who had talked to his son, and that Pete Rose had died. And something about the way he said it and stuff, I mean, I kind of like got emotional for a minute. And I was like, where's that coming from? And it was when I was a kid. I was born in 1970. And when I was a kid, some of my most first memories of sports are the Big Red Machine and the Yankees-Dodgers rivalry in the late 70s. Those Yankees teams with Reggie Jackson and Bucky Dent and Willie Randolph and Chris Chambliss, and those Dodgers teams where every kid in North Louisiana knew the Dodgers infield. It's a totally different era than today. It was Steve Yeager at catcher and Steve Garvey at first, and then Davey Lopes, Bill Russell, Ron Say. They had Rick Mundy, Dusty Baker in the outfield. I mean, you just knew all those teams. And the Reds were such a powerful team, and everyone knew who they were. And when you would play baseball, you pretended to be the Reds.
It's different times.
All these kids suddenly in Little League. I remember getting in trouble in Little League because you'd slide head first.
That's where I don't think.
And everyone slid head first
because of Pete Rose. Like you literally called it. You instead of going, I'm sliding head first, you said I'm Pete Rose. You know, like you called it a Pete Rose.
Yeah, and I was 8, 9 years old, and we're all playing pitching machine ball, and we're all sliding head first into second base, and everybody's like, the coaches are yelling at us, but
Hey, did Pete Rose, by the way, did Pete Rose ever wear a down oven mitt on his hand when he slid into second base?
No, cat.
No,
that
no.
cat was no.
How many Evo shields did he have when he hit?
He didn't have any. He was a different breed. It was a different time. It was just there was something about that
was for Drew.
There was something about it last night that just made me kind of feel old.
That was a shout out to Drew right there.
Pete Rose passing. He was an amazing player.
Yeah.
Dog. He could play left field, second base, first base, could kind of do anything. And was just, when he played against your team, you just hated him. You just hated him. And then when it was over, you're like, damn, that dude could play. And the night that he broke the record was a cool night. I remember watching it because he tied it the day before in Chicago. Tied Ty Cobb the day before, and then got 41-92 at home.
What did I say, 86?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. We broke the record the next night against Eric Schau in Cincinnati. It was really cool. It was a big deal.
It's 42-56. I said 42-86.
He finished with 42-56.
Yeah, it's 41-92 was
41-92 was the record. Yeah.
It's a record that will never be broken. I don't think it will ever even be approached.
No one will get near it.
Yeah. Not in today's game.
No.
Not in today's game. I mean, you would have to completely shift back away from the analytics the way they are now because everybody's swinging. I mean, Kyle Schwarber is a leadoff hitter.
And I don't remember what year this was, but I remember it being a big deal. He hit for 44 straight games. The Braves snapped his streak in Atlanta. He faced, I mean, it was like, this is like Carson and I were talking about this yesterday a little bit. It's the part that's hard to explain to a 17-year-old boy. Everybody stopped to watch Pete Rose's at-bats. Joe DiMaggio had the record at 56. No one had ever really gotten close. And then Pete Rose was at 44, and he was in Atlanta at Old Fulton County Stadium, and he faced, I want to say, Gene Garber, like in the ninth inning, and it was this battle. And Gene Garber pitched to Pete Rose that night as if it was Game 7 of the World Series. It was that kind of intensity. And it's just one of those things you just remember. I remember it vividly. It was on it had to have been like 81, 82, 83 because WTBS was in our homes as part of our cable system, and we were watching the Reds that night, and everybody either wanted it to get broken or you wanted it to keep going. I wanted it to keep going because I thought it was so cool. Like, and all these people were starting to talk and write about it in these historical terms, and Joe DiMaggio was like, I can't even fathom Joe DiMaggio, right? I was like,
that's another record that won't be broken.
No. But Rose got close, and just the way that the Braves approached him in that game, even as a little kid, it struck me, man, this is big. This was a big deal. And, you know, the crowd in Atlanta gave him a huge ovation and stuff. It was just, this is a different time. And maybe that was what got me a little bit yesterday, was it kind of felt like the end of an era that I don't know that we'll ever have again.
Yeah. Austin, thanks for the super chat. I'm going to get to you too. I'm going to actually cover that here in just a second. So I don't skip over here, but I'm going to cover it in just a second, Austin. Thank you very much for super chat. Also, Dikembe Mutombo, you know, same kind of thing as, you know, that was probably when I was really into the NBA. That was when, you know, he was playing, Jordan was playing. That was kind of my era, so that made me feel, you know, he passed away of brain cancer yesterday, so they both passed. That's just a sad day. I actually saw it break while we were on the show on the bottom yesterday on the ticker. I just didn't want to get into it. Telling you more. All right, Neal. Last night was the final game of Make It Rain for you and Campbell and Ellen.
Yep.
And that was Campbell and managed to pull it out. Yep. So the final record for last week, Neal, you were 4-6-1. You are now 16-32-2 overall.
It's better than the White Sox.
Minus 13.35 units. I also went 4-6-1, had a losing week, second one I've had. I went 24. I'm now 24-24-2 plus 0.45 units. So I lead by still same lead from last week. I lead by 13.8 units when we make our picks on Make It Rain Thursday. All right, Monday Night Football results. The game that you had, or Campbell had, or Ellen had, whoever was the actual proxy. The Titans all over the Dolphins, 31-12. I'd like to use this moment to quote the great American 21st century poet Clay Travis. As he said today, and I quote, "After watching the Dolphins for the last 2 weeks, everyone in America owes Tua Tagovailoa an apology." No longer can you say Tua is average as grits quarterback, and he did not deserve every penny of the contract they did to pay him, because they look like a cluster. Cluster. I'm talking about, you got Tyreek Hill, you got Jalen Waddle, you got A-Chain, and they can't take a snap. And it is bad ball, coach. It is bad ball. I'm talking about they have no chance. They have no chance. No chance. It was one of the, like, I'm a football guy. Okay? I'm a football guy. I wanted to poke myself in the eye with a needle trying to watch that game last night. That was some of the worst football you've ever seen. And then, like, on the first possession of the game, Will Levis is scrambling. He jacks his shoulder up. So we had Rudolph was in there. So we had Rudolph versus Tyler Huntley going on Monday Night Football. Who had that on their bingo cards to start the year?
Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer?
Rudolph, the Oklahoma State Cowboy reindeer.
I don't remember him.
Really? No, he's good.
Tells you a lot about the quarterback position.
Yeah. He ran through the old South Alabama Jags like a shit through a tin horn. Was it South Alabama? We played him.
I don't remember
Mason
him.
Rudolph. Big.
Oh. Yeah, I guess I sort of remember him.
100% when you see, Google his picture, you 100% know exactly who it is. He's one of those guys that you're like, yeah, because he's very, he looks like, I swear, him and Jimmy G could be brothers. Jimmy Garoppolo and him look like twin brothers.
Oh, okay.
All right. Second Monday night game last night, I lost that one because I took the Dolphins. I faded Neal and it bit me last night. Or faded Campbell, it bit me last night. I had the Dolphins, that didn't work. But then I took the Lions -4. That hit. Lions beat the Seahawks 42-29 in a game that started out with defensive dominating, and very quickly in the second quarter they decided nobody could stop anybody starting the second quarter, and they went back and forth. Lions really should have won this game by more. They pretty much controlled the game on offense. Defensively, they gave up some like critical third downs that were like almost luck. Geno Smith was a magician. Geno Smith, if it wasn't for Geno Smith, they'd been big, like 42-10. He magicianally made that game look a lot closer than it was. So it kind of is what it is. DK played well, but then he had a fumble that led to a touchdown that was really close to coming back. But Seahawks still good. All right, so this is going to answer Austin's super chat. Before anyone asks, this is going to be very brief, Neal. I don't imagine. I know you very well. I don't imagine you may just give me the nod. You may not even respond here. Before anybody asks, and Austin already has. Yes, I have seen all the talk about conference realignment. I have seen it. I'm tired of talking about it. I have nothing to add. Just wake me up when it's over. I'm actually mentally exhausted of all the conference realignment talk. That's my statement. So, Austin, I know that's probably not what you were looking for, but there you go. It's like, wake me up when it's over.
In the words of the great rock group Wham, wake me up before you go.
No Diddy.
Oh, I suspect George Michael Diddy.
You expect some Diddy going on?
I suspect he Diddy, yes.
Okay. All right. And then, and point number 2, before anybody asks today in the chat, whether it's on TikTok, Twitter, or the Cooper Chevrolet chat on YouTube, which is what we're reading, before anybody asks, yes, I have also seen the breakoff proposal outline that was released today by College Sports Tomorrow. And I'm tired of talking about it. So wake me up when it's over. Wake me up when it's over. On the flip side, though, in your spare time today, and all your spare time that you have, read that proposal and see if that doesn't sound familiar.
Oh, it's definitely where everything wants to go.
No, I'm talking about me and you that have talked outside of this microphone.
Yes.
Read that proposal and see if the numbers look familiar. See if something sounds familiar to you.
It's where it's headed. It's where it's headed. I mean, It's inevitable.
The number was 74.
74 teams?
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually don't think it will end up being that high.
It was the Power 5 and then sums. All right, Neal, do you know what time it is? Perfectly right on time. Before, you know what I'm doing, though, Neal?
What's that?
I've
got a couple of things.
I know, but before I turn the page, Neal, before I turn the page Tuesday, and we talk about the upcoming games, and I'm scanning over here, and I'm looking in one corner, and I'm watching the Astros get thumped by the Tigers, and
just 3-0.
3-0. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at World War III breaking out. Yep. Do you know what the only thing that could really make me feel better right now?
Some Wendy's nugs.
Some freaking nugs. I had some honey barbecue nugs on Friday. They were on point. I could use some honey barbecue nugs right now. You know,
on a day like today, when there's so much happening, I mean, it's always a good day to have Wendy's nugs dipped in sauce. But on a day like today, where you got World War III, you got a vice presidential debate between a former defensive coach.
You got a double-A pitcher opening up for the Braves tonight, game one.
You got
most important game of the year.
Got a double-A pitcher going against the Padres. You got the Tigers in their for love of the game road grays.
Oh, they are. You like that, don't you?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite movies. It's a horrible movie. It's terrible, and I love it.
Can I have a guilty pleasure confession?
Sure.
I have watched this movie. I need to ask my wife. I've probably watched this movie over 500 to 600 times.
For love of the game?
I have a few movies. Okay.
Okay.
All right. This is my look. I have three 3-letter problems, Neal. Okay. I have CTE.
Mm-hmm.
I have OCD, and I have ADD. Okay. And any other 3-letter abbreviation that if asshole was a 3-letter abbreviation, I'd probably fit that too.
Sometimes after this show, you're gonna have FBI. But yeah, sure.
Yeah. Maybe after this one, I may have FBI, CIA, all of it. Right.
DEA.
When I can't sleep at night, I have some movies that I have purchased, and they're on my Apple account.
Mm-hmm.
And I can turn those movies on, and I can go to sleep listening. I know like verbatim, like I could go reenact the movie. I can say that because I turned them on and it makes me go to sleep. I have a group of movies, and For Love of the Game is one of those movies.
Yeah, sometimes I can't tell you how many times I have gone to like the MLB store and dialed up like a Gus Siskey Tigers road jersey or a Billy Chappell.
The Gus would be awesome.
The Siskey one would be just fantastic
because there would be so few people
that would get it. Right. It is. I haven't done it, but one of these days
we got to do that. Go ahead.
Anyway, if you need to cheer up a little, get the Wendy's new saucy nugs covered in sauce. They take the crispy and spicy nugs you love and turn them up to 11. They got flavors like buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, or if you're a real heat seeker, you can try spicy ghost pepper only on Wendy's spicy signature nugs. I dare you. That's 7 delicious ways to try the nugs you already love. So pick a flavor, grab some extra napkins, prepare to nug like you've never nugged before. For a whole new way to nug, it's got to be Wendy's at participating U.S. Wendy's. This show also sponsored by BetterHelp. What's something that scares you? Share a fear, no matter how big or small. Halloween lets us have fun with what scares us.
Or World War III.
It's true. But what about those fears that don't involve zombies or ghosts or double-A pitchers or missiles? Therapy is a great tool for facing your fears and finding ways to overcome them. Because sometimes the scariest thing is not facing our fears in the first place and holding ourselves back. I've benefited from therapy, helping me to put adversity in perspective, get the tools to work through difficult times. Therapy is helpful for learning positive coping skills, how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. It isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma. It's part of the Cubs philosophy. Just be better than you are. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapist anytime for no additional charge. Overcome your fears with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/MPW today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP. McCreadySiskey.com/MPW.
All right, Neal, it's time for Turn the Page Tuesday. All right, out the gate, 11 a.m. First of all, I'm rocking with my Jacksonville State shirt over here from Rich Rod.
Gamecocks.
Gamecock shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Jacksonville State's got it. They're playing on Friday night, so we'll be able to get to see them Friday night. Playing Kennesaw State on Friday night, so we'll be able to watch them play. Getting that time of the year. October's a fun, really good, all kidding aside, for Jacksonville State and Rich Rod, because they get on TV damn near they start playing instead of Maction, they do Conference USA conference games a lot during the week during October. So he's got a couple of midweek conference games coming up, so I can be able to watch my guy. All right, Neal. Yep. First game up. Interesting to get your thoughts on this one. SEC game out the gate, 11 a.m. Saturday morning. Missouri Tigers traveling to College Station at Texas A&M. The Texas A&M Aggies are favored by 2 points at home against Missouri. Feels really like got a lot of these little trappy lines. This feels trappy.
In what way? Because you think they're trying to trap you into taking Missouri in the points, or you think they're trying to trap you into taking A&M and just laying 2 because they have a bigger name than Mizzou?
I think they're trying to trap you and get you to take Missouri.
Oh. Yeah, I don't have a read on this game. I watched, obviously, some of Texas A&M last week when we were doing the postgame show. And
I heard you were really locked into it.
I was really locked into it. I did not realize that I was as locked into it as people said that I was locked into it. But I don't know. I mean, they're playing with the freshman quarterback in Reed. He's doing a good job, but he's not doing a lot. I mean, it's where you kind of wait for Missouri to show up. Like, it's time. If you guys are going to be what we said you're going to be, it really needs to start now. For some reason, I kind of think Missouri's in trouble here, but I don't know, man. I mean, some of that is like we're doing this A&M thing, and A&M's not done any. A&M trailed Arkansas in the fourth quarter. I mean, we're not talking about world beaters here.
A&M's like not better. They're very similar. There's a couple of teams in this league like this. Auburn's a team like this, and they're better offensively. Oklahoma's like this a little bit, where you got teams that are pretty solid on defense, right? You got a good defensive team, but offensively, you're like, how many points can we score? I do think Marcel Reed gives them a chance to. He just more things to prepare for. Missouri has kind of played with their food a couple of weeks now. They had a bye week, but they had played with their food against Vandy, obviously going to overtime, and they played with their food against Boston College. So here's the thing, right? Is like, did they use the bye week for the right reasons? Did they wake up and go, hey, this is a little bit different? When you look at,
they said they did,
and you look at Texas A&M. Obviously, lose the opener to, if you throw out the Notre Dame game, what are you thinking about Texas A&M right now? Right? I mean, so it's like
probably the same thing I think now, which is kind of like I don't really know what I think.
Yeah. So it's going to be a good measuring stick either way.
They're fine.
Yeah, I think you'll find out something about somebody coming out of this game, right?
Yeah, sure.
So it's a really big game. I was a little surprised that Texas A&M was favored by that much. I didn't think they would be favored, to be honest with you. I thought at worst it'd be like Missouri -2. But yeah. Gonna be interested. I'll be all in, eyes on that one. All right, ACC. All of a sudden, ACC game that matters. You got SMU, who has not lost a game in the league. SMU played with their food to start the year. Started off a little slow, but have kind of found their stride since making a permanent quarterback change. Really blowing the doors off of Florida State. They lost to BYU, changed quarterbacks, and now they've started hitting their stride a little bit.
I'm not making my own picks, but if I were, this would probably be my money line pick.
Oh, and then you got Louisville, and here's Louisville's deal. Louisville, in my opinion, is a better football team than Notre Dame, but they really struggled with they beat themselves. They had too many mistakes to beat themselves. How do they had everything all in on that game. How do they respond? Then they got to come at home, play SMU. Big game for both sides right here in the ACC. This game, ironically, this game's probably going to have some implications of who plays in the title game. Maybe down the road. It sets themselves up to have a chance to play in the title game.
Okay.
All right. The only reason these two are on here is I got a scenario for you that's going to we're going to be the only show that's going to talk about this, okay? We're going to be the only show that talks about this, probably for a while. The Navy midshipmen are traveling to Air Force. Navy's -9.5.
Mm-hmm.
And then Army's -11 at Tulsa. Now you ask, Tyler, why in the hell are we talking about these two teams on Turn the Page Tuesday?
Because you think that it's possible that Navy could play Army at the end of the season for the right to go to the playoffs.
Well, hear me out. They're both in the same conference. They're both in the American Conference. They both play Notre Dame.
Oh.
That's really because Navy's already beat Memphis. You guys, one of them's got to play South Florida. I was looking at their schedule, but you're like, okay. How about this possible scenario? Okay. How about this possible scenario? An undefeated Army, or it doesn't matter, 11-1 Army or 11-1. Let's say they both lose to Notre Dame. That's fine. Okay. They both could play each other. Let's say if they're both undefeated for fun right here. They could both play each other in the American Conference title game. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Selection Sunday will be the next day. And then the next week is the Army-Navy game.
Is that right?
Yes.
Oh, wow. How about that?
So how weird would it be if they both played? Let's just say they're 1-2 in the league for whatever reason. What if they're both 1-2 in the league and they have to play each other in the conference title game on campus? Because this Army-Navy game is this neutral site, just big deal. But they play each other and then turn around and have to play each other the very next week. That's the playoffs have already been picked.
Oh.
You could get in a weird – I guarantee you when they came up with this scenario, this playoff group of 5 thing,
they didn't think
no hand-raised guy was like, hey, whatever happens if Army and Navy are the last 2 teams here? Nobody – that crossed no one's mind. Not one person's mind. And so me having a podcast and just loving to see people squirm when they don't think through decisions, please sign me up for this.
Oh, sure.
Dear baby Jesus, for the support of our troops, which we love so dear and close to our heart, is there any way that we can have Army and Navy go undefeated the whole way through? Is there any way we could have Army and Navy be undefeated? And Boise needs to lose a game somewhere. But can we please have Army and Navy undefeated playing in the conference championship game, then have Selection Sunday, and then play again for the big – like, do they even celebrate it as much? You know what I'm saying? Like, what if they play the title game and then, like, it has to be on campus? That's the other thing. They play it on campus. So they have the Army-Navy game. Do you have all of do you have all the stuff and then play the Army-Navy game the next week? Does it even mean anything? What happens if Navy's in the playoffs? Do they sit all their guys and not really play the second Army-Navy game because they just played the Army-Navy game last week?
No, you'd play that game real.
You play it twice?
It means too much.
How awesome would that be to get 2 Army-Navy games back-to-back?
That game is on my very short list of games I want to go see.
Oh, 100%.
Army, Navy.
I'd be all in on that. All in on that.
But Scooble's got nasty stuff, man. I mean, he pounds the top of the zone and then brings 97 right down on his hands. I mean, he's his former Cub Victor Caratini.
I'm sure Smith Shiver for the Braves is going to be doing this tonight at 7:30. Straight, he's coming straight from freaking Jackson, Mississippi to San Diego to pitch. Actually, he was a Gwinnett, but anyway. All right, Tulane Green Wave, the Fighting John Summeralls, who have a good team. They just had a rough schedule to start the season. They have a good team. Starting to find their stride now that they're playing their own conference. It's going to UAB. They're 14.5-point favorites. Why did I bring this up? Because things are getting weird. I don't know if you've seen anything on social media. Things are getting weird with Trent Dilfer and the Birmingham media.
Not surprised.
Getting very weird.
Well, he's weird.
He took this. This is nothing new, I guess, is my thing. I saw this a couple of weeks ago. There was like he took a phone call in a press conference a couple of weeks ago from his grandson after they won a game or something. Nobody said a word. And then Saturday they lose, and there were 2 people in the press conference, and his grandson was walking around. He said, "Hey, come up here and sit by me." And I guess some of the reporters were like, "Oh," it pissed him off. And he said the words, he said, "This isn't the Alabama press conference. We'll be okay." Well, when he said that, everybody's like, "Oh, what are you trying to say? Do you not understand the history of, Alabama, University of Alabama and, UAB?" For those that don't know, okay, quick background here. UAB and the University of Alabama have the same board of trustees. Okay, for a long time, there was this guy named Paul Bear Bryant Jr. that was ahead of that. And he did everything he could to not make UAB relevant in sports because of his dad's legacy at Alabama. And so I remember you were probably in the state when like Jimbo was going to take the job, and he squashed that, and so this is back in the, after the Auburn thing. There's been a lot of attempt to hold UAB down until recently, then they've let them go. Well, that did not sit right with a lot of people in the state of Alabama. So things are getting very weird between Trent Dilfer and the media there at UAB. Grimes probably heard it 1,000 times, I imagine, but it's things are getting weird.
Sometimes I don't know why coaches just can't let press conferences be press conferences.
Yeah.
I don't know why you got to bring – and it's different like if you're retiring. But sometimes there's a place for, hey, I'm bringing my kids to sit up at the dais with me, and sometimes there's not. And it's like sometimes the whole let's open up the press conference to fans thing, most in the media don't like that at all because we're just trying to work. We're trying to do our jobs. We don't want to listen to all the cheering and stuff. We're having to it's Dilfer should know that.
Yeah. But it's like
and I don't have a problem with taking a call or whatnot. It's just it could have waited 10 minutes.
I think, yeah. I mean, I'm with you. I also, on Dilfer's side here, I do like the human aspect of it. Like he's just a granddad, seeing his grandson. So there's both ways. If it wasn't a problem 2 weeks ago, it shouldn't be a problem now. But I'm not in the media. I don't care. All right, Iowa. Neal, your Iowa Hawkeyes are traveling to Ohio State. Ohio State is favored by 20.5 points. Interesting line there, Mr. Scoops.
Yeah.
You don't like it?
We never play them close.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
We always get smoked.
That's a big number I kind of like.
Yeah, I don't mind the 20.5.
All right. Going to be interesting. Be a physical game. Ohio State look, they're hitting their stride. They're starting to play, dude. When they want to play, Ohio State's loaded, dude.
That is a so loaded good roster.
Golly. And JJ Smith, the wide receiver, did you see his catch on one of the 9,000 Sports Center clips?
I don't think I did.
He made a catch, a one-headed catch. He's a beast. Between him and I heard there was like this 17-year-old receiver at Alabama. I can't remember the kid's name, but he was a 17-year-old kid.
Like Davis or Thompson.
What was that 17-year-old kid's name in Tuscaloosa?
Like Brian Johnson.
Is it Zilliams or
something like that?
Yeah, Williams.
Ryan Williams. I've heard about him.
Yeah, I think is he 17? Somebody said
he was born in 07. Yep.
I heard.
Yep.
That's crazy. He's 17.
17.
Golly, that's nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy. 17 years old.
But those are the two best young ones in the country. They're really good. The Auburn Tigers, Auburn Tigers, are traveling in a not get right game to Athens, Georgia, to take on the Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia's going to be pissed. This is not the game you want to go, all right, look, this is what we got to do decision-making wise. On a positive note, if you're an Auburn fan, if I can give you just one little positive to hang on to, Hugh knows how to attack this defense. He knows. Now, I don't know if he's got the horse to pull off said execution and decision-making skills for said execution, but he knows what causes this defense problems. He always has. And so he will look for a lot of.
Is that like the
spacing.
Tel Aviv Hilton?
I literally said that a second ago. They're not just on the show, but it's the same. It's the same clips, dog. They're just zooming in and out. They're
not just
live.
Flying things right over the Hilton.
Yeah, it's not live.
Sorry.
No, you're good. But yeah, this line is probably, ironically, it's either Georgia covers by a lot, or this game's probably closer than anybody wants. I don't think there's any in between. I don't think it's like a 23-point line. I think it's just like they win by 40 or they win by 10. I don't think there's any in between in this game. Grind said in the Cooper Chevrolet chat, he says it is a get-right game. Get right back home as quick as possible.
Yeah, I like Georgia in the number here. I just wouldn't. The way they looked on Saturday night, I wouldn't want any part of them right now.
Woo. All right, Super Low Reb, this one's for you. The Ole Miss Rebels, Neal, are traveling to Columbia, South Carolina. Have you heard about this?
I have. I'm just hoping that my hotel room has like really good air conditioning.
Okay.
That's my hope. But literally my one hope is that my hotel
Most hotels
room
do.
has really good air conditioning.
What hotel you staying at?
I'm staying at an Embassy Suites.
What room number?
I don't know that.
Just messing.
But I'm planning to if I get really good AC, I'm planning to get a lot of sleep. Like I'm planning to just crash.
Yeah,
dude.
get you some NyQuil. Let's go.
That's what I'm thinking about. Is like loading up on the NyQuil, taking some NyQuil like at 1 p.m, sleep.
My kinfolk will be there.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, Jeff will be there.
Oh, okay.
He's going to see his clients.
Yeah.
So he'll be
there on both teams, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But has 2 on the Rebels.
Yeah, I know the 2 on the Rebels. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and he is a South Carolina graduate as well. So, every one of my family, my wife's family, either graduated from South Carolina or Clemson. So we have they don't like each other on Thanksgiving.
Oh.
So, shout out to all my brother-in-laws.
That's how we'd be if we had any Louisiana Lafayette family. It'd be Civil War.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Ole Miss is favored by 9 today. This line was at 9. It opened at 11, I think. Then it's down to 9. I said this on the post-game show. I'm going to say it again. My first official pick for Make It Rain. Whatever the line is on Thursday, I'm taking Ole Miss minus the number. Don't give a shit what it goes to.
Why are you so confident?
Because I'm going to tell you why. We've had – thank you.
Sure.
Spent a lot of time on this show. I live here in Oxford. I've heard it since over a year ago. Building for 24. Building for 24. Building for 24. Playoffs or bust. Building for 24. I have had personal. I've met the quarterback. I think he's got the right stuff about him as a competitor. I know some of the players that are on the team that I recruited, and I know they got the right stuff. They got beat Saturday, in case you didn't know.
I was there.
And you get into a situation sometimes, it kind of reminded me of, and I should have brought this up with AJ yesterday, and I didn't. When AJ was a junior, the last game I ever lost as a high school coach, the second week of the season, we played Williamson High School, okay? And they had dudes too.
The Fighting Jamarcus Russells?
Yeah, he wasn't there on that one, but they had this guy named Nick Fairley. He was pretty good.
He was good.
And they had a quarterback named Brett Smith who signed at Auburn but didn't qualify. He was the real deal. They ran through our ass like shit through a tin horn and made us like it. We could not slow their ass down. We couldn't block them. Nick Fairley hit AJ 464 times. We couldn't block them. We couldn't stop them. They beat our ass, okay? We were the number 1 team in the state. All the cameras were at practice, and they were talking about, telling you how good you are, and they were at practice, and all the rival sites, they're writing articles, and all the recruits. Hey, Mark Barron, tell me, what are you about your recruiting? Hey, AJ, tell me about your recruiting. Hey, Destin, tell me about this. Hey. All of them were there. We got our ass embarrassed. I'm talking about right now. You can probably go find Brett Smith. He's probably still running inside zone. He's probably reached about Arizona right now on I-10. I'm talking about ran through our ass like shit through a tin horn. Best thing that ever happened to us. The next week, didn't have time to sulk the next week because we played this little team called UMS Wright next week. Okay? We came out.
Best teams money can buy.
Came out, well, not necessarily that back then, allegedly, any Old Shell Road, allegedly.
Oh, yeah.
You had St. Paul's, you had McGill, you had Old Shell Road.
I got
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was back when just the private.
Meet somebody at Butch Cassidy's.
Yeah, hey.
Slip them a little something.
That was back when just tampering and recruiting occurred in the private schools. Now it happens in the public schools. So, allegedly. Anyway. Best thing ever happened to us. Found a way to win, and we did not lose again. And we got a rematch with Williamson in the semifinals, and we beat their ass like they stole something.
Really?
Yeah, we got after their ass. It was like 45-7 when we pulled everybody out. We kicked the shit out of them in the second time.
Wow.
And I'm taking Ole Miss because of this. All I've been hearing is it's championship or bust, the last dance thing, which is one of your favorite sayings.
Mm-hmm.
All of that. That's all I've heard. And look, they got good players. Okay. If they have any competitive nuts about them as players, as coaches, if you have any nuts, and that's being a competitive motherfucker. Excuse me, Mom. That's the first one, maybe all week. Okay, it's the first F-bomb all week. If you have any competitive nuts, not only do you show up and remind everybody while we've been talking. I'm going to remind everybody that wrote a check, everybody that donated to the collective. I'm going to remind you why you did it. And that's a personal thing. And so you're going to show up with a little bit more focus. You're going to show up with a little bit more sense of urgency. You're going to show up with a little bit more competitive character. And I think in my experience, and look, Lane didn't tell you that he likes his team because he doesn't like his team. Lane's not that kind of guy that's going to bullshit you on that.
Sure.
And I believe he did that for a good reason. And I've been with Lane after a loss. I know how Lane is after a loss. Give me Ole Miss minus whatever they throw out there. They can't make it high enough.
How much do you worry about Ole Miss not having Jaden Williams, those tackles being able to hold up against South Carolina's rush? And then how big of an advantage is it for South Carolina to now have sort of two quarterbacks that they feel like they can win with? Because I think Sellers is going to be back.
Yeah, I don't. Robbie Ashford would not concern me at all.
Right.
At quarterback, like I'm just like, please play.
Right.
Because now I can eliminate one thing you can't do. I mean, there's going to be challenges, right? But still, spot for spot, does South Carolina have a good defensive line?
Yes.
Does Ole Miss?
Yes.
You saw them like spot for spot. Now we're gonna go spot. Would you rather have Sellers as your quarterback or Jackson Dart?
Dart.
Okay. It's like still.
Now I'd rather have Rocket Sanders than anybody.
Agree.
Anybody Ole Miss has back there.
Agree. But my point is that I think the defensive lines will neutralize both of those. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at the end of the day, it's about dropping your nuts. I mean, I really do. This is one of those games that if you play at Ole Miss or you're a coach, it's time to drop your nuts and suck it up, and you're either going to do it or you don't. But I think they do, and that's why that's my first pick, and I feel very confident in that.
Okay.
All right, the Indiana Hoosiers. There you go, Tupelo Rev. That was for your super chat. Indiana, 13.5 at Northwestern. Indiana, my fighting Signettes.
Windiana.
Yeah, my fighting Signettes. My fighting Signettes. They are 13.5 point favorites, and in the top 25, probably for the first time. I'm sure I think TA his COVID year was top 25, but first time, long time they've been this good.
Yeah.
When TA and them made it, they had Michael Penix Jr. and he got hurt towards the end of the year. But these guys can legitimately score on offense. You had Kalen DeBoer and Kane Wommack. How about that? Kalen DeBoer and Kane Wommack were the coordinators in Indiana last time. That pretty good. TA had a pretty good staff. But look, I think Indiana's real deal. I actually like Indiana big in this game. All right, game that's going to be a fun game to watch if you like physical football. Rutgers is at Nebraska. Nebraska's giving Rutgers 7. That feels high.
It does feel high.
It does feel high.
Rutgers is physical.
Rutgers is undefeated and physical. Schiano's gotten to play. You can say all the shit you want to say about Schiano. That dude can coach football. He is the grinder of grinders.
Ooh, he got away with one there. 0-2 pitch, he threw it right down the middle. Hitter got out in front of it.
Oh, dude.
That was a mistake. Woo, he got away with a mistake.
Yeah,
you can get away 0-2 like that because the hitter's being defensive.
Probably won't do it again. All right.
I would think something off speed's coming here.
In a game
he was dialed in on that pitch.
No doubt. In a game that feels really weird to me. Okay.
Ooh,
West Virginia and Neal Brown was already 2-2 on the year, traveling to Oklahoma State, who is 3-2. This game feels very the loser of this game, it can get really weird really quick.
Yeah.
You don't want West Virginia start the year 2-3 with Neal Brown, and heck, all the talk's going to start, and it's already started. If Gundy starts with 3 losses, he's getting up there. It's going to get in the modern day, all that stuff. It's going to get. I think this game's got a chance. The loser of this game, big game loser, has the chance to get really weird. All right, Alabama is traveling to Nashville, where it's going to be a pseudo Alabama home game.
Yeah. Oh Lord.
Alabama minus 22 at Vandy. This is not a throwaway game to not pay attention to. If Alabama goes and handles their business and dominates this game, the whole league needs to be put on notice.
Yeah.
If Alabama comes out and just farts around a little bit but finds a way to win, probably tells you something else too. So I'll be watching it, how they perform. If they're still clean, they show that they truly are still process oriented and go out and handle business and dominate like they should, then Everybody's been if you haven't been put on notice yet, you really should be put on notice. Vandy's Vandy. They're a lot better than they've been, but this game shouldn't be close. And 22 should not be enough. All right, Clemson. This is we got to bring this up. Clemson is minus 14 traveling to Tallahassee to take on the Fighting Seminoles. And on cue, DJ Uungalale has hurt his hand, and he'll be out.
Lay him.
See, what had happened was I was playing my old team, and yeah, that one's can't sell me beachfront property in Arizona.
Lay him.
Dude, that's bad. Like, woo-wee.
Lay him.
If the good news is,
Clemson actually has played well since Georgia. Yep.
Somebody said that don't throw them away after that first week. I don't remember who it was.
I think we both did.
Yeah. They don't listen to us, though.
Nope. That week one overreaction thing is just powerful.
I will say this. If you're a Florida State fan, I imagine you have seen the last snap of DJU for the season. That's my prediction.
I would think so.
You at this point in time, season's over. You got to play your young dudes to see if you got anything.
Because if you don't, you're going to have to go.
Hey,
you're going to have to go bidding. Probably going to go bidding anyway.
You got to go see. You got to see if you got anything. You got to. So I imagine they're going to play young bucks.
They're so close to being like winless.
Yeah.
I mean, Cal almost got.
Yeah.
And Cal's average. I mean, and then SMU beat the fire out of it.
Yeah, SMU got after him.
That deal's bad, man.
And sadly, to break your heart right here,
because
I know you're going to be emotionally invested in this game, my favorite line of the week.
Oh, yep.
Like literally my favorite line of the week.
I love this. I'm actually going to lay real money.
I don't even think you can hex this one. I don't think it's possible.
Nope.
I would suggest you. I know some people have fun and like try to fade Neal. Not on this one. Tennessee minus 13.5 at Arkansas.
Why is it so low? I would have laid 23.5.
Dog, I don't know.
I mean, Arkansas is not. They're not. I mean, they're okay on defense. They're okay offensively. They're just not good. The quarterback can't run the offense.
And you're going up against some
that
dudes.
Defensive front. He might turn it over 7 times.
Yeah, I don't get this line. I'm missing something. It's like Nico got the Wuhan flu or what? I mean, what are we doing?
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know.
I feel like there's major information I'm missing out on this one. But I love Tennessee minus 13.5. Another line I don't understand. Michigan is at Washington. Washington is favored by 2.5. Don't get this one.
No, I like Michigan here.
I do too. Money line possibility for me on Thursday there, probably for you too, or for Ellen or whoever's picking for you.
Yeah, I got to tell Ellen and them, hey, look now, don't do this cheering for my Hogs thing. Nope.
Yeah,
I'm gonna cancel that pick.
Dude, they're gonna come in here and they're gonna take Arkansas money line.
No, they won't. Then that will be canceled. Scooble just throwing fly balls right now.
That are staying in the park, more importantly.
Yeah, just little pop-ups.
Breaking news, Iran has fired 181 missiles to Israel. 181.
And there's reports that it's more than that. That's citing the IDF.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, well. Just
turn the page.
Just World War III.
Let's go. Just World War III. We're going to turn the page from World War III to college football. USC.
I mean, middle-class people fire weapons. It happens all the time.
Dude, you know what happens?
They care about their lawns in Iran.
So last night, we put the kids to bed last night, Neal, and Aaron and I were sitting there chatting. She had her spoon into a open can of Beanie Weenies, and I had my fork into a can of Spam. We were sitting there, our middle class family. We were sitting there at the table, and I grew up in a middle class family, and my dad made me cut the yard, and he was very, very insistent on the lines that I put in my lawn.
We took a lot of pride in it.
And I sat there and I was like, Aaron, I don't know what we're going to do about the grocery bill, but by God, you know what we can do? we can fire some damn missiles today.
Yeah.
And then when it happens, we're just going to act like, I don't know what's happening. It's like, hey, nothing to see here.
No.
I have never felt more like that meme that when the house is on fire, it's like nothing to see here. I've never felt more like that meme than I have today.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. USC is going to Minnesota. USC is favored by 8. I am not touching this because Minnesota can run the football and USC struggled to stop the run. It's got me scared, especially with that 8-point deal, not touching it. USC should cover, but I don't know, man. They got to go on the road again and into somebody's run heavy. That scares me. A game I do love. The Baylor Bears are traveling to my favorite team, the Iowa State Cyclones, and the Fighting Matt Campbells. Iowa State is favored by 11.5, and it's probably going to be not enough. We'll talk about it on Thursday, but love that there. All right. Game, two more college games left. Game that I'm really confused on what's going on here. UCF, Central Florida, after getting their doors blown off by Colorado, is traveling to Florida to take on the bye-week Gators.
Yep.
This line opened with Florida favored, has now moved to Central Florida favored by 3. 4-point line movement in 2 days. Right now, Central Florida is favored by 3 at Florida. Confused. I am so confused on this one. Big week. If you're a Billy Napier fan, big week for old Billy Napier. I've said this from the beginning. If there ever is a time for them, this is the game that would make it unrecoverable.
Yes.
Quickly. Like, not even like, this is a game that would, that losing to Central Florida at home, this is a game that would, now, again, don't feel bad for Billy because he's going to get $26 million. It's the other people I feel bad about.
Yeah, because they go to Knoxville next week.
Yeah, it's a must. Like, you have to win this one just to win it. And last college game, late night. So when Neal is writing his 83rd article of the day about how Ole Miss destroyed South Carolina, the Miami Hurricanes are traveling to Cal Berkeley to take on the who had this as undefeated versus undefeated to start the year.
Cal's not undefeated.
Oh, they lost to Florida State.
Yeah, but I know I get your point. Who would have ever thought this would be game day?
Who would ever thought this would be game day? Miami is traveling to Cal. Okay. And if y'all don't think ABC had anything to do with the selection of where this happened this week, you know what we're going to do? Here's the other thing we talked about last night, Neal. Aaron was scooping out her beanie weenies. I was forking out my spam. We were talking, and after we decided to turn the page on missiles being fired, you know what we decided to do? We decided to go outside and hug a tree. Just say everything's going to be all right. We were all about peace, love, and hugging trees.
Yeah.
You know, we went for look for some mushrooms, couldn't find any mushrooms.
Did you hug enough types of trees?
No. Well, it depended on
an oak, a pine, a cypress. Did you?
Well, we were looking for the one that identified as a cat, and we couldn't.
That's a real thing in like hurricane recovery right now.
Tree hugging?
No. You want to send the aid to? I mean, I can't even do it. It's so bad. It's. I will read you the quote.
Oh, we got quotes coming? Did you like that tweet I sent you earlier, by the way?
I did.
The Russian tweet.
Here we go. Oh, it's been deleted.
Shocker.
Yeah.
No.
I know.
No.
It was how can you help some of the Southeast most vulnerable victims of the hurricane? And it was, they wanted to make sure that they helped those from the LGBTQ, whatever, and those who were looking to have an abortion. I mean, I kid you not. I mean, at some point, this is where I mean, forget it's time to have like a series. Really? I mean, seriously? I mean, look at the pictures.
Who said that?
It's
Do you
been
know who said it?
It's been deleted. It was 19thnews.org is who originally did it. It's been erased.
Grind said in the chat, will Kamala go to the Cal game? 100%. I'd be shocked.
Oh, no, she won't.
Really?
No way.
Oh, I'd be shocked.
No way.
Somebody's going to be there. My favorite. I sent you a tweet yesterday too. With
it's a really bad look for them right now. They don't need to be anywhere. They need to be in the White House working, or they need to be in North Carolina, Virginia, these areas helping. There's an optic that's involved. I mean, I remember, and the media was right at the time. I remember when Katrina happened, and the media just lost their minds that it took George W. Bush a few days to get down there, and they were right. This is the same thing. It's just it doesn't appeal, and because the optics aren't what the media want the optics to be, this just isn't what it is. But this thing about we need to be prioritizing aid for different type. No. We need to be prioritizing aid for Americans, all Americans.
Yes.
Americans. That's it. Americans. Straight ones, gay ones, white ones, black ones, rich ones, poor ones, Americans.
Take care of the house.
It's not complicated. It's not complicated.
No.
Yes, we should absolutely be taking care of the underprivileged. Sure. But that doesn't change the fact that the rich parts of Asheville got wiped away too, and those people need help.
Yeah.
We should focus. It's insane. It literally puts me in the most people joke about I don't the football thing. Who cares? It's just games, man. At the end of the day, it's just games. I mean, be fine. The sun's going to rise. There are pictures of people sitting on top of their rooftops. Remember that in New Orleans?
Yeah.
Remember that in New Orleans?
I do.
There are people sitting on top of their rooftops. They have nowhere to go. People are trying to get helicopters in there to save them.
Yeah.
Remember those pictures? I mean, the media is getting exposed here.
Oh, bigger than shit.
I mean, it's disgraceful. And don't get me wrong, what happened in New Orleans as a Louisiana native was disgraceful. Predictable? Yes. Disgraceful? Absolutely. But what's happening in North Carolina and in Tennessee and these towns that are being wiped away, these people are they lost everything. The focus should be on these people. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether they're gay or straight. It just doesn't matter.
Focus on the wrong shit.
But we need to prioritize that. We have the sitting vice president of the United States of America talking about, we need to really make sure we focus on equity. No, we need to focus on getting people help.
Yeah,
help
there parts
people. It just drives me insane.
And they're not even covering it. And the part that really, I mean, there are areas that they're talking about they're not going to have water for 5 weeks.
Yeah.
There's one road open 30 miles south. There's one way into Asheville right now, 30 miles south. And there's not one damn relief truck.
Well, and you can't get gas. You're waiting in line for hours to get gas. There's internet outages. It's bad. I mean, there's also all these reports of missing people. Many of them are probably, God willing, okay, but their families can't reach them.
Yeah. No offense to Justin Wilcox and the Cal Bears, because I like Justin, but I'm not pulling for Cal Bears. I'm just betting on Miami out of principle, -10. NFL, just a few games here.
And if I got us kicked off TikTok, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I think we're good on TikTok. I think we're good. We got people laughing, though. NFL.
I mean, I get why people are laughing.
No,
the old man's crazy and stuff, but
Neal, they're saying Neal for president.
I'm right.
Yeah, they're saying Neal for. We got a Donald J in the Cooper Chevrolet chat. We got Small Time Republic says Donald J. McCready.
I mean, I don't know. There was a time. Maybe this is me being nostalgic, but there was a time in our country when even if we disagreed, we did care for one another. There was a pride in being an American. It was real, and I don't know. We didn't.
I've said it. The last time that happened was 2000 after 9/11. That was the last time. But before that, it's like you feel bad, like the young people, like my kids.
Yeah,
they don't grow up in that.
They never felt.
They never felt that.
It feels intentional.
And before that, it was Desert Storm. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like there have been times like when it's why the moment was so big. But do you remember when Whitney Houston sang the Star Spangled Banner at the Super Bowl?
100%.
You know,
absolutely.
And that was different than it is now. And you hate it because the people you got people voting. I mean, they're voting in this election that have no idea what that's about. They have no recollection of being. I mean, the first memories they have is I mean, you got people voting in this election that don't remember when Obama comes out and tells you that we got Osama bin Laden.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't even remember that. They're voting in this election, and so it is what it is. All right, NFL Buccaneers Thursday night game, Neal. I'm sure you'll be really excited to watch as you're doing hand raise, guys. Buccaneers.
We're gonna get done early Thursday because I got to drive to Memphis because my flight's at 6 a.m.
Gotcha. Buccaneers at the Falcons. The Falcons are favored by.
That's actually a good game.
One of the few. Buccaneers are favored. Excuse me. The Falcons are favored by 1.5. We got breakfast. We got 10 crumpets Sunday morning.
Oh.
In London, the Jets taking on the Vikings. The Vikings are favored by 2.5 points against the Jets in London.
Is that at Wembley or Tottenham?
I have no idea.
Okay.
No idea. Our Bengals are hosting the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh.
Ravens are favored by 2.5.
Pretty big moment for the Bengals.
Yeah. Big moment. Really for both.
Put up or shut up a little bit.
They're both 2-2.
No, the Bengals are
1-3, but the Ravens are 2-2, so it's a big game for both. Another good game. The Bills are favored by 1 at the Texans. Be a big good game.
Yeah, it's a good game.
And then Sunday night, good game. We got the Cowboys at the Steelers.
You don't remember this because you were too young. You're too young. When I was a kid, the whole Pete Rose thing. When I was a kid in North Louisiana, the Steelers-Cowboys rivalry was a monster rivalry. Terry Bradshaw played at Louisiana Tech.
Yep.
Tom Landry and the Cowboys were just 4 hours away. In North Louisiana, you cheered for the Cowboys. South Louisiana, you cheered for the Saints. But this game was such a big game. And so anytime I see those two teams on the field at the same time, it kind of brings back. I think they played 2 Super Bowls against each other back in the late 70s, early 80s.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
2 or 3. I can't remember. I was trying to think. The Steelers are favored by 2.5 at home against the Cowboys.
And they played in that Jimmy Johnson's first Super Bowl with the Cowboys beat the Steelers. Is that right? I don't know.
No, they beat the Bills. Was it 94?
I'm about to look it up. Cowboys.
No, that was the Steelers. They beat the Steelers in 94.
Cowboys Steelers Super Bowl rivalry.
95. Austin said 95 in the chat.
They played in Super Bowl 10, 13, and 30.
What was the last one? Was it 95 or 94? Doesn't say.
I mean, I'm sure it does say. I just don't see it.
'94 was the Bills. 95 was the Steelers.
I remember Super Bowl 13 pretty vividly. I was 6th grade.
Yeah. No,
something like that.
That was the bus back in those days. That was the Steelers bus.
That was Franco Harris.
No, it's about the last one when they played. Was drum.
I remember Franco Harris versus Tony Dorsett.
First Super Bowl.
Roger Staubach.
I don't know which Super Bowl this was. First Super Bowl I can remember was the Redskins with Doug Williams. That's the first one I can remember.
I think 18?
I don't remember. Doug Williams in the Super Bowl.
First one I remember was Fran Tarkenton and the Vikings losing to John Madden and the Raiders. Doug Williams.
Austin said 94. I'm a Bills fan. Yeah, they remember those.
Doug Williams won Super Bowl 22. Doug Williams played at Grambling.
Yep.
5 minutes from.
Does that tell you the year of that?
hometown.
Just out of curiosity, I'm just curious how far back I can remember. With my CTE, ADD, and OCD.
I'm sure it does, but I'm having a hard time finding it.
Who'd they play?
Super Bowl. That's not what I'm looking for. Hold on. 22. That was 42-10 Redskins over the Broncos. That game.
1984-83 season.
Okay.
So I would have been.
It was January. 6. No, this was January 31st, 1988. Is that?
No, I'm not. I'm thinking about the first Redskins. I'm thinking about John Riggins. Okay. I'm thinking about the one in 83.
Gotcha.
Anyway. In the Monday night game, Neal, we got the Saints at the Chiefs. The Chiefs are favored by 5 hosting the Saints, the New Orleans Saints. It'll be a very interesting game because the Chiefs have been playing with their food for a little bit.
Yep.
But they're undefeated.
They are. They keep winning.
And the thing to watch here is before, and I don't know if I want to pick this game because it's really, I think this line's going to move based on the Saints got some injuries. If they get guys back or not, we'll determine that. Neal, tell me about our good friend Cole Walters. I got some good life advice here.
Okay.
And then we'll get out of here.
I was waiting to see what his pudding order was. Tapioca, chocolate. It's nap time. Nap time. Life advice presented by Cole Walters of State Farm Insurance. Cole Walters, licensed in auto, home, life, health, business, and pet insurance for the whole state of Georgia. Contact Cole at 706-525-7850. You can also find him online at colewaltersinsurance.com.
I'm stealing some life advice here. I thought this was great. Rocky Wright in the Cooper Chevrolet chat said, and I think this is great life advice. He said his family always told him to live every day like it was 9/12.
Oh, yeah.
Live every day like it was 9/12. That is phenomenal life advice. Because in my lifetime, and I've said this on the show, just said it a few minutes ago. That's the last time, in my opinion, I think our country was all together. Because it was like 9/11, you were like, it's like, you took one on the chin, and then 9/12, every American got up and goes, okay, what are we going to do now? Let's go. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter if you're white, black, pink, purple, had horns coming out your head, LGBTQT, whatever you want to call yourself. It didn't matter. Everybody was on the same team. That was the last time. That is great life advice right there from our good friend. Really, 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 really good from Rocky Wright there in the Cooper Chevrolet.
Yeah, and there were some days after 9/12. There was the day that Bush went to the site. There was the Yankees.
Threw out his first pitch.
Yeah, that Yankees Diamondbacks Game 3.
Yeah,
back in New York. There was some nights like that when we all felt I remember Sammy Sosa, the Cubs' first game, Sammy Sosa running out to right field with the American flag, hit a home run, ran the bases with the American flag. It was like, we're all in this together.
Yep.
And
then World War III broke out.
And then we weren't.
Yep.
But hopefully it doesn't take that again, because that was
no bueno.
We will be back on Thursday with another edition of
Make It Rain.
We'll have a Make It Rain Thursday.
Do you know who's doing your picks? Is Ellen going to be your proxy this week?
Well, I said if she does better, and she did do better than 2-9, so we're
gonna ride Campbell until she
give him another roll at it. If she's willing to do it. Do have a special guest picker lined up for next week. He'll be here live in the studio.
Oh,
yep.
Okay.
Got a different. It's gonna be interesting.
Okay.
It's gonna be interesting.
Okay.
I mean,
Bob said he'd do it one week too.
Okay, Bob can do it one week. So
we just gotta give him some notice. We're gonna let Bob's lives in Augusta, so he still doesn't have power and all that stuff.
Oh, off the very top of the wall.
So
that 2 feet higher, it's a home run. Instead, it's a single. Wow. All right, we've been brought to you by our friends at Rain Total Body Fuel. Speaking of Bob, 300 milligrams natural caffeine, BCAAs, electrolytes, zero sugar. It's got what you need to push the limits and achieve your goals. So check them out on Instagram at Rain Body Fuel to learn more.
They were also brought to you by PTG Outdoors. They are a Camus boat dealer. They have both fresh and saltwater boats. They sell and service Mercury outboards. They do custom marine electronic installations with Garmin, Humminbird, and Low Ranch products. You can get all of your fishing needs and custom golf cart retrofits where they replace all of the batteries with a single lithium battery. They have locations in Grenada, Mississippi, and more importantly, doesn't matter where you're listening to us at right now, go to ptgoutdoors.com and they will send everything you need right to your front door. Give them a call at 662-459-9311.
See you guys on Thursday. Until then, take care.